I'm Mary, a speech pathologist here at Provo Speech, and I am here to talk to you about using signs with your babies and toddlers. I love using signs for this age group. It's an amazing way to help them communicate. Just a couple of tips before we get started. Some people are concerned about if you give them signs or you give them pictures or another alternative way to communicate, then maybe they won't talk. That is false. That is a myth. Research shows that children who use signs actually speak earlier and more than their typical peers. So that's a good thing for you parents who are looking into doing this with your children. I use signs with both of my children. I also use signs in my practice a lot with several of my clients who are either nonverbal or just learning to communicate in this toddler phase. So let's get started. There are a ton of great websites out there about teaching sign language to babies and also books. This is one that I have. But I just want to break down the basics for you. If you're curious about using this and how to do it, here we go. So I would always start around 4 to 6 months. That's when I started with my kids when they were babies. And you just start by showing them the signs and doing them yourselves. And then eventually helping them with your hands, helping their hands make the signs. The next step of the progression is that they will start imitating the signs independently. And then something will click to where they will understand that that sign has meaning. And they will start using them independently without your model. So that's where you want to get. When you get to that phase, that's when they really become powerful and meaningful for your child and for you. Using signs is a great way to reduce the number of tantrums with this age group that are commonly frustrated when they can't get their meaning across. So how do you choose which signs to begin with? I always start with some that are functional and then some that are meaningful. So functional, my top few are signs like more, all done, milk, eat, or food, the same sign. And those are ones that you're going to need all the time with your babies and toddlers and that you can use throughout the day. Meaningful are ones that are going to be specific to you and your family and your home and your situation. So for example, I have a client who their family has a dog, and so for him he really loved that dog, and so learning the sign for dog was important for him. So choose something that is important for your child. So once you've chosen your signs, how do you teach them? I just say repetition, repetition. You use them naturally throughout your day as you use those words verbally. So as your child is joining you in mealtime and you're talking about the water and do you want to drink a water, and okay, here's your water bottle, and oh, is that water cold? You just repeat it and you show that sign to them as many times as you can. I know being a parent can be overwhelming and there's a lot to think about, so just try and incorporate those as naturally as you can into your day, or think about certain times during your day when you have some one-on-one time with that child that you're working with signs, and try to fit as many repetitions as you can into that time period. A sign that I always recommend is more. It's done like this. Your hands are kind of in this shape. More. More is great because it can be used across contexts. So you can ask for more bites of food. You can ask for more tickles. You can ask for more pushes on the swing. Whatever it is that's motivating and exciting for your child, that's when you would bring it up. And it's also great because you can use it as a question and as an answer. So when you're asking your child, do you want more? More food? More? And then they can repeat it or imitate it and do it back to you as their answer. More. More food, please. More. Okay, so in that sequence I just did 3 signs in a row. When you're first teaching, you would just do one at a time. But once they've mastered those 3 to 5 signs that you started with, keep adding. Add another sign and another sign. I would say about 1 new sign a week. And see how fast your child progresses. Every kid is going to be a little bit different. But once you're up to about 10 or 15 signs, you can start putting 2 together and saying, more please. Pretty soon your child will be repeating that. In typical development, babies and toddlers can put 2 verbal words together around age 2. I love teaching our babies and toddlers to use signs to make requests or to ask for things because it has immediate reward built in, immediate gratification, and immediate acknowledgement that we understood exactly what they were asking for. But it's not the only thing to use signs for, and it's not the only reason why we communicate. So just keep in mind these other functions of communication: commenting, protesting, greeting, informing or drawing attention to something, answering. So it's not all about making requests, but it's a great place to start. One final note, when you are helping your baby do signs, and we call that hand over hand, when you take their little hands and help them do the sign, they might resist, and that's okay. Keep trying, and it's all right if they resist it. Try to make doing signs with your baby a fun activity and engaging and positive. If they're to the point where it's really frustrating to them when you take their hands, don't take their hands. Just model it for them, and that's all right. But when they do start imitating on their own, a couple things to watch for. One is what we call an approximation. Just like how when a toddler is learning how to speak, they might not say the word exactly correctly. They might mispronounce a few of the sounds, and that's fine. We still know what they mean, and we still respond appropriately. We comment on that word, or we respond, or we give them what they're requesting. So same thing with signs. If the sign is all done, this is how to do it correctly, they might give you one hand. Or they might do both, but they might kind of flap them like this. Just watch for what your baby's doing and pay attention. Another tip is to be patient. Sometimes it takes a while for them to do them independently, meaning weeks long of this practice. And sometimes it takes a while, meaning in the moment, give them time to respond. If you're modeling it for them, it might take them 15, 20, 30 seconds for their little brains to decide what to do, and then to motor plan that, and then actually execute. And so I hope you enjoy signing with your baby and toddler. It has been a wonderful experience for me with both my own children and my clients. It has many wonderful benefits in terms of language and social and cognitive and physical development for children. And so it is one of my greatest Tuesday tips. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in.